and successful week as we look forward to enjoying this weekend and, of course, the upcoming week. This is the final Saturday of the month, so in short order, we will transition to the collaborative effort between the Ministry of Education et al. And the Nevis Disaster Management Department when we have our student ambassadors who come on with us to share on the various risks and hazards and disasters. And this morning I will tell you in a bit who we have with us today and what our focus will be. However, before that, we have a few housekeeping matters, and so I want to make sure that we get that taken care of. We know that all the schools have just about have had a very long and also productive term, very exciting, very packed term. The term started in January, and we've seen Black History celebrations, we've seen several sports meets, we've seen several interscholastic meets as well, and a few quizzes taking place during the course of the term. The term is winding down. In fact, school ends in this coming week. It's going to be a very slow week, and in the middle of the week we'll have the Inter-Primary Schools Championship and several sports meets. We've seen several. And following that, we will have our teachers wrapping up, but our students won't be returning following the meet, okay? Unless otherwise indicated by your school, especially for our teams. If you have other instructions from your school, you will follow those instructions, but that is going to bring the term to an end. So let's start off talking a bit about the Inter-Primary Schools Championship. We have the press conference for the Inter-Primary Schools Championship will take place on Monday at 9, and our media day, actually, it will take place on Monday at 9 at the Nevis Disaster Management Department, and during that time we get a chance to meet the sponsors, have a quick conversation with the students, and then we'll proceed from there. So the media day starts at 9 a.m. We encourage you to tune in, to follow via the Department of Education Nevis YouTube channel, the Facebook page, Department of Education Nevis, as well as the Department of Sports Nevis Facebook page, and you will get the updates on the media day. You'll get to follow the students, as I said, during that time. So that's 9 a.m. on Monday 31st of March 2025. We also note that the championship proper will also take place on Wednesday, and we stated that we've been doing the countdown, and just after I finish here I might give away 1 or 2 tickets, so I'm hoping that you're listening, you're paying keen attention. So the championship takes place on Wednesday 2nd April at the Nevis Athletic Stadium. It starts at 11 a.m. The opening ceremony starts at 11 a.m. The first event starts at 11:30 a.m. Admission, adults $25, high schoolers $20, primary school students $15, and inside parking with the driver included $40. Of course, we had a pre-event sale, an early bird special that ended yesterday, but you can still have the opportunity to purchase a ticket at the gate if you so desire. The early bird is over. The patrons for the event come from the Elizabeth Pemberton Primary School, and of course, as you may or may not know, we go around from school to school in order, and so last year it was the Joycelyn Library Primary School, and so we're coming back towards town. This year's patrons are from the Elizabeth Pemberton Primary School, and they are Ronell Pemberton and Ty J Griffin, and they will be our patrons this year, and they're coming from the EPPS Lions. So that's just a bit of information as it relates to the Bonnie Limited Golf Limited Nevis Primary Schools Championship 2025. All right. So as I said, I will segue a little bit and circle so that we can try to win some prizes. We also are at the cusp of a very important anniversary celebration. The Stepping Stone Nursery will be celebrating their 35th anniversary in short order, and they have a jam-packed calendar of events. It started on the 21st of March. They had the community outreach day. They started with the distribution of care packages. There is a big event coming up, the anniversary grand parade and launch. That's coming up very soon. The grand parade and launch 9 a.m. on April 25th. The Thanksgiving service will take place at the St. Paul's Anglican Church at 9 a.m. on 27th of April, and then the anniversary day, which is actually the birthday of the Stepping Stone Nursery, will take place on May 1st. Then the Stepping Stone Nursery will have a fun sports day on May 2nd, cocktail and gala on May 10th, graduation send-off for the class of 2025 at the Montpelier Hotel, 4:30 p.m. on Saturday, 12th July. And then an island tour on August 9th, talent extravaganza and magazine launch will take place on Saturday, 1st November, and the staff holiday appreciation dinner will take place on the 19th of December. So, as I said, many things are happening during the course of the time, and we want to applaud Stepping Stone Nursery. One of the things that will take place as well will be a weekly trivia quiz happening right here on Youth on the Go every Saturday, starting next Saturday, leading up to the anniversary date. And so as we share bits of information even today about the nursery, we hope that you're taking notes, because from next week we will start asking questions for various prizes for our listeners. The theme, Growing Together, Celebrating Loyalty and Nurturing a Sustainable Future. Growing Together, Celebrating Loyalty and Nurturing a Sustainable Future. We also want to share with you a bit about the nursery. As I said, take notes, because we'll start asking questions next week. Stepping Stone Nursery is the brainchild of Leonie Pat Descent and is owned by the Descent family, Lower Stony Grove, Nevis. Stepping Stone Nursery started operations on Tuesday, 1st May 1990 as a home-based child care center and transitioned to a center-based nursery in 2005. Stepping Stone presently operates from 2 locations. Phase 1 at Lower Stony Grove caters for children 3 months to 2 years, and Phase 2 at Pump Road opposite Old House Cafe caters for children 2 to 3 years. Among the first year set of students were Kyle Sargent, Winnet Hobson, Florel Hobson, Joey Richards, Tishon Descent, Ira Willett, Ryan Walters, Corey Lawrence, Adrian Atherton, Stefan Parry, Jevon Herbert, Tinari Chapman, Kimbo Tyson, and McCleary Lake. The economy in Nevis changed dramatically around 1990 with the opening of Nevis's first and only mega hotel property, the Four Seasons Resort. The Four Seasons era brought with it a dramatic shift in the social landscape, as the majority of stay-at-home mothers, aunts, grandmothers took advantage of the dynamic and new livelihoods and employment opportunities in the workplace. Stepping Stone Nursery was established to provide early childcare services and fill the void created by the departure of the stay-at-home guardians. The founder and director, Mrs. Leonie Descent, and her staff of 10 have a combined total of 145 plus years of experience in early childhood delivery between them, with Karen Herbert being the longest serving caregiver with 32 years under her belt. Mrs. Descent has been involved in child development ministry and programs for her entire teenage and adult life, with deep involvement in developing, supervising, and providing leadership for youth and children's programs for over 3 decades at the Western Holiness Church, St. Kitts Nevis, Saba, and Willa District. Mrs. Descent is a Serval trained graduate, 1996, in early child care development. In 2017, she initiated and spearheaded a volunteer program providing a once monthly cooked meal for needy seniors who reside in and around the Charlestown Nevis community, under the auspices of the Charlestown Wesleyan Holiness Church. And of course, as I said, Stepping Stone is doing the countdown to anniversary day. I shared that information with all of you because you will need it when we have the quizzes in the upcoming weeks. But until then, we'll take a short break, and when we return, we will get to meet our student ambassadors from which school? We'll find out when we get back.
Sugar City St. Kitts, keep it sweet. Keep listening to Vaughn.
It's time, come on, rise and shine. You know, I know we're gonna have a great time. And now we're past it quickly, you don't wanna miss it. So turn up the radio, it's Youth on the Go. Youth on the Go. Oh, let's start the show. Let's go. I will learn new things. I will be creative. Grab your gears, let's gather around. An adventure is always waiting. There's storytelling news for us, and we always know what's happening. We act, we play, we dance, we sing from 9 to 10 on Saturday morning. Youth on the go. Whoa. Let's start the show. Youth on the go. Whoa. Let's start the show. Whoa. Let's go.
All right, let's go. Welcome back to this edition of Youth on the Go here on Vaughn Radio. I am Zahnela Claxton from the Ministry of Education et al. And we are here today, the final Saturday of March. Everything is flying by so fast. The final Saturday of March. It's a big Saturday for us because it's the lead up to the 2025 edition of the Inter-Primary Schools Championship. But it's also a big day for us here on Youth on the Go because it's the last Saturday of the month. We have our disaster management student ambassadors with us today. And today, our students come from the home of the
Jaguars.
So we have the students from the St. Thomas's Primary School. I will allow them to introduce themselves.
My name is Anaya Sinarain.
All right.
My name is Reja Rollins.
Okay, so we have Anaya and Rejan with us, and both of you are grade 6 students?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So they are here. They're on a different countdown because just after this term is over, they have their last term coming up, their last primary school term coming up. So that must be equally as exciting. So this month, our focus, or disaster of focus, or hazard of focus, is actually the tsunami. Okay, so we're going to be talking a bit about tsunami awareness and tsunami readiness, and then we'll transition to our special guest, who we'll speak to in a moment. As we know, each month we highlight various hazards and disasters. We highlight various students, and we have students representing all of our schools across the island visiting at some point during the year to share about a particular natural hazard, natural disaster. Today we are looking at the tsunami, and there is a lead up to a big event, tsunami related event. Actually, we had it already, didn't we? Yes. So we're going to talk a bit about tsunamis, tsunami drills, what is a tsunami, those types of questions, listeners. Make sure that you're also locked in and ready to share with us. So Anaya, you're starting, and we're going to tell the audience, what is a tsunami?
A tsunami is a series of giant waves that happen after earthquakes, volcanic eruption, landslides, or meteoric impacts.
All right. The waves travel in all directions, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So they can come from anywhere, from the area of the disturbance, much like a ripple that happens when you throw a rock in the water. So listeners, viewers, we know, for those of us who have been to the beach or a lake or even a big puddle, when you throw a rock in the middle of it, you get that ripple effect, right, going on. And the waves may travel as fast as
450 miles an hour.
Now, that's way past our speed limit.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's way past anything I can even fathom. I can't even imagine what it looks like to move 450 miles an hour. As the big waves approach shallow waters along the coast, they grow to a great height. So for those of us who have seen it on TV, I'm so grateful we've never seen it in person. But the waves get really high and the water recedes, and it just gets sometimes taller than even the island that it's coming to, right?
Yeah.
They can be as high as 100 feet. Now some of the tallest people on Nevis, for example, not in the world, are just about maybe 6 feet, 6 feet 5 inches. But we're talking about 100 feet. Right?
Wow.
So you're thinking, okay, if the tallest person here is somewhere around 6 feet or so, then that might be about 15 of that person standing on his or her shoulder going up, and that's if you're about 6.5 feet. And there are not very many people who are 6.5 feet. But imagine 15 or so of that person standing up. That gives us an idea that 100 feet is not small or short height, right? It's really, really tall. And that can cause a lot of damage along the shore, but it can also cause a lot of damage to an island or a country that's impacted by a tsunami.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So, Rajan, tell us, what are the types of tsunamis?
There are about 3 types of tsunamis, namely local tsunami, regional tsunami, and finally distant tsunami.
A local tsunami originates from within about 100 km or less than an hour tsunami travel time from the impacted coastline. Authorities have little time to warn or evacuate the population.
Ooh, okay, so we can see if we don't have a lot of time to warn, definitely not enough time to evacuate. We have to, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, we have to move quickly, and we have to know what we're supposed to do. So please listen to Anaya and please listen to Rajan this morning, because they're here to help. Rajan, tell us a bit about the regional tsunami.
A regional tsunami is capable of destruction in a particular geographical region, generally within 1,000 kilometers where it begins. Regional tsunamis can arrive on affected coastlines within 1 to 3 hours of being generated.
All right, perfect. So what's the difference between the local tsunami and the regional tsunami? Anything that you can think of based on what you shared, Anaya, and what you shared, Rajan? Can we think of a major difference between them?
There is enough time to warn someone when a regional tsunami is coming, but when a local tsunami is coming, there's barely any time to warn anyone, and people can get affected.
Yeah, the impact, of course, would be much greater because you don't have time.
You have time in a regional tsunami.
Yeah, but you don't have it with the local because you don't. It's
right
really
here.
quick. It's right there. Okay.
Yeah.
So 1 to 3 hours isn't a lot of time, but it's enough time for you to get to higher ground. More than enough time to get to higher ground, even if you have to walk. Right? How long does it usually take you guys to get from your school to higher ground?
30 minutes.
30 minutes.
Half an hour.
Yeah. And you could go even higher if you had 3 hours, right? You could end up
Yeah.
on Nevis Peak, maybe not that high, but close enough to Nevis Peak if you had a 3-hour period to get to higher ground. So you see what the difference is, right?
Yes.
Okay, so let's continue with the...
A tele-tsunami or distant tsunami is a tsunami that from its origin, it is more than 1,000 kilometers or more than 3 hours tsunami travel time from the impacted coastline.
Okay, so if we had to choose, we don't want any tsunami, but if we had to choose to have to experience one of them, which one would we want to choose?
A distant
tsunami.
Why?
It's very far, and most likely it might turn or go in different directions, so a distant tsunami.
You might guess enough time.
Yes, it gives
It everyone enough time to go up to higher ground.
Exactly. And so at least you have that time. The only thing that we might have to look at, and maybe when we talk to our guest caller, we can probably ask her about this, if if the impact in terms of the miles per hour and all of those things, there is a major difference. If you look at them too, it's about 100 kilometers per hour for the local versus
Regional.
10,000 kilometers per hour for the distance. So you're realizing that even if though your time to move, the time is going to take for it to get here increases, the intensity also increases.
Wow.
So if we have to think about it again, and we'll come back to that question later, because you remember the distance one is going to be more intense, more of an impact.
You're going to be more, it'll add on more and more.
Yes, it has an hour and something, 3 hours, 5 hours of getting everything, pulling everything before it hits. So it's going to pick up speed. It's going to be, so I'm going to ask the question again later, because I want to give us enough time to gather our facts and to think about it, which one we would choose if we had to choose. So we had our initial answer based on the preparation time, but now that we're looking at all of the factors or more factors, we'll answer later. And of course, listeners and viewers, our preference is to have no tsunami. We want to make that clear. We do not want a tsunami, but should we have one? That was the question on the table, and it was just more of a critical thinking question. All right. So, Rajan, what are the causes of tsunamis?
Tsunami normally get caused by geoscience, natural disasters, which technically deals with the earth, like earthquakes, landslides, and volcanic eruption, or even meteorites, and sometimes even volcanic eruptions too.
Yeah. So, Rajan, do you do not like your own research on tsunamis, or just you happen to come across certain things, or you just know because you know?
Yeah, I don't normally know.
You just know. Yeah, you heard it somewhere and it just stuck with you. All right, awesome. I love it. Okay, Anaya, we're going to take one more question. We're going to field one more question to you before we take a break, and then we'll after the break we'll continue. But Anaya, your question, and for the edification and enlightenment, and for the audience to get to know, what are some of the factors that determine a tsunami hazard's impact in a specific community? I'll ask it again. What are some of the factors that determine a tsunami hazard's impact in a specific community?
Some factors are the characteristics of tsunamis, which include the speeds of onset, impact forces, current, height, wave. The time of day, whenever high tide or low tide. The geographic of the area.
Okay, so those are some of the factors that impact the tsunami's level of impact, how much damage can be done, how much destruction can be done. And let's look at those factors again, Anaya, just because I'm taking us back to the question of choice. If we had a choice, which one we would want to go with. So we're looking at all the factors as we go along. We're keeping our knowledge bank going. Boys and girls, I hope you're with us. And you're also taking your notes and keeping your knowledge bank going, because Anaya just shared some information with us that I think would help in our decision making. So tell us some of the factors that determine a tsunami hazard's impact in a specific community. Again.
Some factors are the characteristics of tsunamis, which include the speed of onset, impact forces, currents, height, wave height, time of day, whenever high tide or low tide, the geographic of the area.
Okay, so we are at that point. We're at the bottom of the hour. We've really had a chance to learn a bit about tsunamis, and we have some more to learn. But in the meantime, we'll take a short break, listeners and viewers. And when we come back, we will continue to talk about tsunamis with our Jaguars out of the St. Thomas's Primary School.
When VON vibrates, the whole Caribbean must shake.
860 AM, the powerhouse.
It's time, come on, rise and shine. You know, I know we're gonna have a great time. And now we're past it quickly, you don't wanna miss it. So turn up the radio, it's youth on the go. Youth on the go. Oh, let's start the show. Youth on the go. Oh, let's let's go, let's go. I will learn new things. I will be creative. Grab your gears, let's gather round. An adventure is always waiting. This storytelling news for us, and we always know what's happening. We act, we play, we dance, we sing from 9 to 10 on Saturday morning. You done the go. Whoa. Let's start the show. You done the go. Whoa. Let's start the show. Let's go, let's go, let's go.
All right, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. Good morning to all radio listeners or viewers on Von Radio's Facebook page and YouTube channel. And we are here this morning with Rejan and Anaya. We're talking about tsunamis. It is a Disaster Management Awareness Day, the last Saturday of each month. The Ministry of Education partners with the Nevis Disaster Management Department, and we share information with our listeners and viewers about the various hazards, various disasters which are possible, and we give some tips on how to deal with those events should they ever happen to us. We always pray that they do not, but in the event that they do, what should we do? And so, Rajan, we're going to continue with you. What are the tsunami warning signs? What are the tsunami warning signs?
These are some warning signs. When you feel a strong earthquake at the coast, strong enough to make you fall. Sea level fluctuations, which means abnormally receding water or increasing sea levels. Unusual wave behavior. A roaring thunder like noise.
So those are some. I mean, if there's an earthquake that makes you fall, that's pretty intense,
It is.
right?
Yeah.
And if you're hearing a roaring thunder-like noise, especially when there's no thunder and there's no storm, and you're at the
And you
beach,
just hear thunder.
yeah, there's something very wrong. And that's what's happening, is probably the water receding or coming in. So
It's making a whoosh.
Yes, a whoosh that has
Making
been
a
magnified. A lot of noise, right? Okay, so how fast does a tsunami travel, Anaya?
In the open sea, tsunamis can reach 500 miles per hour. So, a near-field tsunami will arrive within minutes. This is why it is so important that people understand the natural warning signs of a tsunami and act immediately to get to safety.
Okay, perfect. Rajan, tell the listeners and viewers, what do we do before a tsunami?
Before tsunami, we must build an emergency kit, make a family communication plan. If the water recedes from the shoreline or goes out to sea in a very noticeable way, get away from the area immediately. This is nature's warning that a tsunami is coming.
Okay, and you realize that a lot of the signs are natural. They're natural signs. So you have to be observant, but you also have to be knowledgeable, boys and girls, mummies and daddies and aunties and uncles and grandmas and grandpas and everybody listening to us. You have to be knowledgeable. And Anaya and Rajan are helping you in that process. They're sharing the information with you. During a tsunami, what should we do?
During a tsunami, we should listen to evacuation orders and leave the area immediately. Take any pets with you. Move inland, which is away from the sea, and towards higher ground. Stay away from the beach. Never go down to the water to watch a tsunami coming. If you see the wave, you are too close to escape it.
Wow. Okay. And we know that children and young people are generally very adventurous, and they might be, they have a kind of dangerous edge they want to see, and so we might be tempted to go closer to see. You can't go closer for a tsunami because you're going to be putting yourself in danger. And then, Rajan, what would happen, or what can we do after?
After tsunami, do not return home unless officials tell you it is safe to do so. Stay away from debris in the water. It could be dangerous. Stay out of any building with water around it. Water can make floors crack or walls collapse.
Wow. Okay. And so we have been talking a lot about tsunamis, and there's some keywords that we want our listeners and viewers to be aware of. And what are those keywords? Let's start with you, Anaya.
Inland, away from the coastline.
Seismic sea waves is another way to describe tsunamis.
Evacuation is a leaving an area that has been declared unsafe.
Debris is rubble, trash, or random materials like large pieces of wood, metal, or plastic.
Okay, so thank you so much for those, and boys and girls, I hope you noted those words, as adults as well. What, Anaya, is a tsunami information statement?
Tsunami information statement. A tsunami information statement is issued to inform that an earthquake has occurred or that a tsunami warning, watch, or advisory has been issued for another section of the ocean. In most cases, information statements are issued to indicate there is no threat of a destructive basin-wide tsunami and to prevent unnecessary evacuation, as the earthquake may have been felt in coastal areas.
All right, thank you so much. And Rajan, what is a tsunami advisory?
Is issued when a tsunami with the potential to generate strong currents or waves dangerous to those in or very near the water is imminent, expected, or occurring.
Okay, good. And Anaya, what is a tsunami watch?
Tsunami watch is issued to alert emergency managed officials and the public of an event which may later impact the watch area.
Okay, good. What is a tsunami warning?
Tsunami warning. A tsunami warning is issued when a tsunami with the potential to generate widespread inundation is imminent, expected, or occurring.
Okay. And what is bathymetry?
Bathymetry is the measurement of the depth of water in oceans, rivers, or lake. Bathymetric maps look a lot like topographic maps, which use lines to show the shape or elevation of land features.
Okay, and Rajan, what is cancellation?
Cancellation is issued after evaluation of water level data confirms that a destructive tsunami will not impact an area under a warning, advisory, or watch, or that a tsunami is diminished to a level where additional damage is not expected.
All right, so we've learned so much so far, and we know that we have so many questions as well in our minds as to how we would respond, how we should respond. And I know, as I said, I've been challenging our students to think through some of the scenarios. So let's go back, and after the break we'll have a guest caller, but I want us to go back a bit and have a conversation about our previous question. If you had to choose, all things considered, all the additional information that we've shared with our listeners and viewers, if you had to choose for one of the tsunami types, which one would you choose and why? And boys and girls, I would also want you to have the same, go through the same process. So just as a reminder, there are 3 types of tsunamis. What are the 3 types of tsunamis?
Local, regional,
and
distant.
Local, regional, and distance. So, of course, Rejan's answer might be different from Anaya's answer, might be different from my answer, but I don't know who wants to go first. If you had to choose which tsunami, we do not want any tsunamis, but if we had to choose which tsunami we would have to experience, which one would we choose and why?
Maybe distant.
Anaya's thinking distance. Let's hear why.
Because it gives people more time to evacuate and get to safer or higher grounds. But at the same time, it gives the tsunami more time to get stronger and pull in more debris, which is also the bad side on it. So maybe distant.
So distance, because at least you have the time. That's what you're thinking. Okay, so you're sticking with distance. Rajan, any thoughts?
Honestly, at first thought, I thought distance was like a better option, but I have a little hope for regional too, cause you will get a little more time, but well, the tsunami do get a little bit of time to like generate and power up. It would not be as much powerful as the distant one. So I will honestly have to pick regional for this one.
So this one you'll go regional. Do I want to know what I would pick if I had to pick?
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So if I had to pick, it would be based on where I am at the time it occurs, right?
Yeah.
But if I had to pick, let's say I'm close enough to a coastline, and would need some time to move, I would be like Rejan. I would pick regional, because to me it's like the middle ground. It's not as intense, and you get some time. It is intense, but not as intense as the distance, and you get some time. So that's what I would pick. However, the answer might change, as I said, based on where we are. So scenario 2, if we're at the St. Thomas's Primary School, and we had to choose, which one would we choose and why?
I would choose the regional.
Okay, why? What is it about being at the St. Thomas's Primary School?
Well, the St. Thomas's Primary School is right next to the beach. So if you were to choose local, you would have no sort of time to get to safer grounds. But with the regional, you would have a couple of hours to get to higher grounds. And like Rajan said, it would not have been more strong as the distance tsunami.
Okay. Rajan, if you're at St. Thomas's Primary, which one?
I agree with Anaya
Okay.
on this one.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, good. So we're making progress. If we are at, let's see.
At a beach?
No, we're somewhere close to the mountain. If we're somewhere close to the mountain, let me think
Fountain,
up in Fountain. So if you're close to Fountain or you're in Fountain, which one would we prefer?
This local.
Local, yeah.
Local?
So you can just come straight and just basically be over with it.
Okay. Because you don't need as much time to get higher.
You don't want to need because you're already up higher.
Okay. And listeners and viewers, the higher that we're talking about is above sea level versus below sea level. So St. Thomas's Primary, I think, being our school closest to the coastline, is right
We're
there.
in the danger.
You're definitely in the danger zone, the tsunami danger zone, and you have the high risk of real extensive damage and fatality if you're there, like anything along the coastline, because you're below sea level. Fountain is above sea level.
It's in the safe zone.
So it's in the safe zone. Yes.
So depending on which part in the Nevis you are, if you're closer to sea, you would want time. But if you're not so close, you won't need it. So it's basically on where you are and your whereabouts in Nevis, and where you would want to, how you would want the tsunami to come.
Okay, perfect. So
Well,
the answer. Go ahead, Rajan. Sorry.
Well, Anaya is very safe because she live at Fountain. Yeah,
I do live in Fountain.
Yes,
So Rajan, how safe do you think you are?
I would say like 25%.
25% safe. So you need some time.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's in the orange zone basically. He's not safe neither. Is he? You know.
Okay,
he's
so
like-
let me hear about these zones now. You got to, and let me tell you, listeners, these students have been really getting me excited the whole time. We have, even the off-air conversations about this have been electrifying. So let me hear about these zones. So we've color-coded the zones.
So the red zone is basically where me and Rajana are in, which is St. Thomas is where we are most of the time.
Okay.
Which is our school. And we are right there, and there's other places that are also in the danger zone with us. And then there's this basically like not so dangerous zone, which is the orange zone. And it's like you're not as dangerous as you would be in the red zone.
Okay.
But neither are you safe.
Okay.
So you need more time. Like you would need time to escape.
Okay.
Because you're in orange. But in the safe zone, which is green zone, you're safe. You don't need to move. You don't need to, unless officials tell you you need to move, then you would move. But you would stay right there.
Okay.
Once I can remember in school, tsunami officials and those persons who dealing with it, they came and they told us about our zones and which part St. Thomas's is and how we do it. So that's why we have color coded them. Red is danger, orange is you're not so safe, neither are you, and danger, and then green is you're safe.
Okay, perfect. Rajan, you wanted to add something?
Yeah. Well, the part where I live in the orange zone. Well, which part Anaya lives, she live in the green zone.
So, but even if you're in the green zone, do you think you still might, just to be safe?
Just to be safe. If officials tell you you need to evacuate, then you evacuate. Because not all the time the safe zone is going to be a safe zone.
All right. So, listeners, I hope you've enjoyed the conversation. We're going to take a break. And when we come back, we're going to have a conversation with Krista. And we get to meet Krista and learn more from her and also have a conversation with her. We'll take a short break and we'll be right back.
From Queen City, Nevis, this is the powerhouse of the Eastern Caribbean, Vaughn Radio.
It's time, come on, rise and shine. You know, I know we're gonna have a great time. An hour passes quickly, you don't wanna miss it. So turn up the radio, it's Youth on the Go. Youth on the Go. Oh, let's start the show. Oh, Youth on the Go. Oh, let's start the show. Let's go. I will learn new things. I will be creative. Grab your gears, let's gather around. An adventure is always waiting. There's storytelling news for us, and we always know what's happening. We act, we play, we dance, we sing from 9 to 10 on Saturday morning. Youth on the go. Whoa, let's start the show. Youth on the go. Whoa, let's start the show. Let's go.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to this edition of Youth on the Go here on Vaughn Radio. I am Zahnela Claxton from the Ministry of Education at TAL. If you're just tuning in, you need to go back to the start of the show later on today because you missed an electrifying conversation, and the conversation is being had with our Jaguars. We have Anaya and we have Rejan, grade 6 students of the St. Thomas's Primary School, but they are here with us this morning as ambassadors for tsunamis to share information with the entire world. We have with us on the call Krista. Krista is no stranger to Youth on the Go, so I will allow Krista to, of course, introduce herself and tell us a bit about the work that she does. Once again, Krista and the Carib Wave, all of us have heard about Carib Wave. Krista is instrumental in this process. She's been working with the tsunami, around tsunamis and tsunami awareness for decades, so she has decades of experience under her belt as well. So, Krista, good morning to you.
Yes, good morning from Mayagüez, Puerto Rico. My name is Krista von Hillebrand, and I am a geologist who then studied volcanology and then turned to tsunami science. So I've been a earth science professional for over 40 years, working mostly in first in South America and then here in the Caribbean from Puerto Rico, where I grew up. I work for NOAA. So you can see NOAA is the agency of the United States, and that stands for National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. And NOAA, through its National Weather Service, is responsible for the analysis, detection, and forecasting of tsunamis for all the Caribbean. So it provides the earliest possible information on potential tsunamis that could hit. For example, St. Kitts and Nevis, but we monitor and report and share data and information with 48 countries and territories, from Mexico to Barbados, from Bermuda through Brazil. But we also work not only in issuing the alerts and issuing threat products, but we also work with the countries so that they are ready and prepared. So when that tsunami strikes, people know what to do to save life and, if possible, even property, because there's very little time in a tsunami. So we have to be always tsunami ready. And so I've been working with St. Kitts and Nevis since 2014, or shortly before that, when St. Kitts and Nevis was it was the third country in the region to be recognized as tsunami ready by UNESCO and its Intergovernmental Oceanographic Commission.
All right, thank you so much, Krista. So we've been having a really lively and active discussion this morning about tsunamis, tsunami readiness and tsunami awareness. I don't know how much more you can tell us about the work that you do to prepare the region and to monitor for tsunamis.
Yeah, so in the preparedness side, we have two really big efforts that we do to help communities and countries and territories be prepared. One of them is the implementation and the sustainability of Tsunami Ready. Through the Tsunami Ready program, we become aware of what the tsunami threat is. So what areas could be affected, how many people would be affected, what are our resources. We have guidelines that say, how are you going to, what are your evacuation maps? Do you have evacuation signage and information on tsunamis and how you get that out to the public? It's not enough just to, have that information ourselves or emergency management. We have to get it to all the people at threat. And then being also ascertaining that, that there are the response protocols. So when a tsunami threat exists, like on the 8th of February, right, there was a big earthquake off Honduras. And then all of a sudden, it's like, oh, wow, a tsunami could hit. It's going to get here in 2.5 hours. Well, what are we supposed to do? How are we going to tell people? What information? What's the threat? So how you're going to inform the public. So that's one thing. We do that. So all those activities are important. And then we bring that together through the Tsunami Ready Recognition Program, and as I said, St. Kitts and Nevis have been recognized since 2014, renewed in 2022, will be up for renewal of its program in 2026. The other big thing in which, oh my gosh, St. Kitts and Nevis is a leader in this, is the annual Kariba Wave exercise. So tsunamis are not very frequent. So we have to, practice our response protocols. People have to practice their evacuation routes. So every year in March, the 48 countries and territories are invited to participate in this regional exercise. And just last week, over 500,000 people participated on March 20th, and it followed up in the days afterwards, with activities. And I heard you had a tsunami game or something like that. I read about, and it sounds like totally what an innovative way to practice your evacuation standards.
All right, so thank you so much for that, Krista, and for sharing those bits of information. So we have I don't know if any of the students want to tell us about the tsunami game that Krista mentioned, if you're aware of it.
I saw it this morning. It was like a little online game.
Oh, nice.
Basically. And it was like a little simulation game.
Wonderful.
And it's preparing you for a tsunami. So it's saying you obstacles you have to get through and how to get to higher grounds, and it's like giving you a little map. And I saw it this morning.
Wonderful.
Just this morning.
Wonderful. So, Krista, as I said, these children are very, very alert. They're aware, and they're well researched, and they're very intelligent and well spoken. I don't know if they have any questions for you before I continue with my other questions.
Well, I have some questions.
Okay, so Rejan has some questions, not a question.
Great. I love questions. I love kids that have questions.
So how long you been working for NOAA?
How long have you been working for NOAA?
So for NOAA, I've been working 15 years. So in 2010, I joined NOAA. Before that, I was director of the Puerto Rico Seismic Network, and worked there as a data analyst. That's part of the University of Puerto Rico Mayagüez. I did that for almost 20 years. And before that, I practiced volcanology. I dedicated my first professional years to volcanology, and I did volcanic hazard mapping and warning systems in Ecuador. So I've been a professional working with these different agencies with 3 different institutions for over a period of 40 years.
Wow.
So that means when she started working for NOAA, neither of you was born yet. No, because nobody's...
You were born in 2013.
They were born in 2013, Krista. So they're...
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
They were born after I even started with NOAA.
Yes,
So.
yes.
Wow.
Do we have any other questions?
Excuse me, Miss Krista, where do you live?
Where do you live, Krista?
Yeah, so I live on the island of Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico is a U.S. territory, so it's located just northwest of you. So if you go up the island chain and then you get to the Greater Antilles, the first island is Puerto Rico, right? And then comes Dominican Republic and Haiti. Within Puerto Rico, our capital is San Juan, so that's where flights come and go to St. Kitts and Nevis because a lot of students from Puerto Rico study medicine in St. Kitts. So we always have flights going there and people returning and always talking about the wonderful things of your country. But I don't live in San Juan. I live in Mayagüez, which is on the western coast of Puerto Rico. And this is where the University of Puerto Rico is located, which is the big university and big engineering, science, business school and agriculture school of Puerto Rico.
Wow.
Wow.
All right. So Krista, you spoke about the earthquake that hit Honduras in February, and you stated that you noticed that they had about 2.5 hours to get ready potentially for a tsunami to hit. Now, I'm going to ask these students here, because we've been talking about local, regional, and distant tsunamis for the session, and looking at scenarios and trying to determine if we have a preference, which one would hit. We don't want any of them to hit, but if we had a preference. So I'm going to ask them, which one of the categories do you think that potentially would have fallen in, that 2.5 hour window?
Regional.
Regional? Why? Why do you say regional?
Because in regional you have 1 to 3 hours to evacuate, and that's 2.5 hours, so it's in between the 1 hour and 3 hours.
All right. Krista, are they correct?
Yes, they are. Yes.
So, Krista, you might have some new recruits. They've been doing an amazing job, as I said, really sharing about tsunamis and thinking analytically today. And so I think you might have to recruit them very early to do some of the work that you're doing and continue with that preparedness. Is there anything else that you would like to share with our listening and viewing audience or with our children before we close out the conversation, Krista?
Yeah, so just continue doing that sharing of information. It's really important. I'm so impressed with Neva's program, because through school children like you, students, that information is getting to the homes, is getting to your aunts and uncles and grandmas and everybody, so everybody becomes prepared through you. So continue that awareness and just continue that learning. There's a lot of really good information on the internet, but watch out. Go to official sites only. There's a lot of really bad information there out there on internet, incorrect information. So listen to the authoritative information. You have NOAA, you have UNESCO and its Intergovernmental Oceanographic Center. You have the Caribbean Tsunami Information Center. You have the USGS. And of course, in St. Kitts and Nevis, in Nevis particularly, you have NEMO and its Office of Disaster Management. So, follow and share that information that you learn from these official sources so you can be ready. And remember, it's not a question if a tsunami is going to hit St. Kitts and Nevis, because it will. We just don't know when. So you have to be prepared. It's 24/7. I'm going to ask the students. Do you know what the season is for what the tsunami season is? Can you answer that question? What is the season for tsunamis?
Maybe hurricane season?
Oh, nope.
No.
What do you... Another one. You get another chance. What is tsunami season? How long does it last? It's a little bit of a... It's sort of a little trick question.
It's a trick question. When should we be prepared for a tsunami?
So just think.
So when can it hit?
It can hit at any time.
Perfect. So the tsunami season is from January 1st through December 31st. It's always tsunami season in the Caribbean.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. They love that you try to trick them, Krista. They're laughing. They love that. But we thank you so much for the call, and we really appreciate the work that you're doing. Thank you, Krista.
Okay, from Puerto Rico. Cuídense.
Adios.
Bye-bye.
Adios.
Bye-bye.
Okay, thank you, radio listeners and viewers. We had an amazing time, but it's time to say goodbye. Enjoy your week. See you at the Inter-Primary Championship on Wednesday.
With all the power from the tower, this is the